Welcome to part 2 of the LTGuitarist interview with Tantacrul. If you haven't listened to part 1, then you probably should, but I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm not convinced I really needed to do an intro to the second part, but apparently I have. Enjoy! I think that sort of neatly covers your journey into YouTube. I'm wondering if there was a specific point or a specific upload where you realised, oh yeah, no, this is something I perhaps should pursue a little more, with a little more structure or a little more time.
I'm not certain there was an individual video that made me go, wow, it's all taken off here. Certain things, certain little milestones in my own mind definitely stand out. I mean, I remember when I released a Hallelujah video, which for me was a total experiment, because I'd done this one kind of quite dry video about composition, about what was it? Transitions, it was called. Yeah, and after that video, it was quite dry, composition sort of video. And then I tried out this other one, which was something that sort of drove me nuts a bit, which is in the early verses of Hallelujah, when people cover it, they tend to just for some reason jump an octave and do weird warbly things. And for me, it's like, you know, if you're interpreting the song, go for it, interpret the song. But if you're going to like basically do the Jeff Buckley version, the John Cale version, just, you know, do it the way they do it, because they do it well. And it's obviously connected to the exact words that they're singing, and there's an obvious direction that's happening here. You know, they're going up and they're coming down. It's really basic stuff. And I kind of released that, and I posted it on Reddit myself and kind of went, I've got this really great video you want to check out. And, you know, and then overnight, because I posted it just before I went to bed. Overnight, I woke, you know, it spread a little bit, and I woke up and I had 300 new subscribers from 10, 20, whatever. And I remember just looking at my Gmail and seeing all the subscriptions. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I saw that I had lots of comments, and I had like 1,000 views or something like that. And I was, oh my God, I've had 1,000 views. I never thought this was possible. And I mean, that for me was kind of sort of justification that I could be funny, that someone might actually be inclined to watch my stuff. And that kind of gave me a bit more motivation to go ahead and try out other things. But then it was a long time before I got another one of those. I did the sonification one. That was just in terms of views, a swing and a miss. Actually, all of them were a swing and a miss after that. Because that's the way YouTube is. There's a certain point where it goes, we're gonna give you views now. And that's what happened. I think the one that kind of kicked off my channel, if we're being honest, is the Sibelius one. Before that, the second Eurovision video did quite well, and that was beginning to really take off, and then it got taken down, and then, you know, that got me like a couple of thousand subscribers, which was a really big deal. And that kind of made me think like, oh, I was about to take off, and then they cut me. But I kind of had this feeling like, I've got momentum now. I think it's going to happen. So I did the Sibelius video, and then I remember it just started taking off by itself, and then all my other videos started taking off too. And the Hallelujah one started getting recommended, and the guitar cover one, which I think we were going to collaborate on, that one really took off, and that's actually one of my least favorite videos that I've done. And that one's passed 1 million views recently, and the Hallelujah one's kind of not far off. And then all my backlog started doing well, and the sonification one started doing well, and all the other ones too. And that was kind of crazy. And then there was a period, I remember there was one day where I got something like, I think I got like 10,000 subscribers in 2 days or something. And I looked at it and I kind of went, this is insane. Now that was a very, very high peak and a very quick fall off after that. It wasn't, obviously I don't have that many. I've only got like not quite 100,000 yet. But for me, that was a big moment. And then I started getting emailed and contacted constantly by people about all my videos all at the same time, because basically all my videos, it's like I launched all my videos all at once and they all did well. And I was inundated. It was a little bit petrifying actually, because just I didn't even want to look at my email. I was getting rang constantly. I took a couple of days off work just to be able to deal with the admin. That's when I realized I've put a lot of personal data up online. You know, I mean, there's like my forwarding address of my channel is my own personal email address. I should probably sort that out. You know, fixed a couple of those things, and that was another kind of big moment. But I think along the way and after that, one of the things that kind of emerged in my mind was that YouTube is a viable way, I think, for potentially viable way for a musician to get together an audience for themselves, so that when they want to release music in the future, they can just honestly go, hey guys, if you're interested, I've made some music, I talk about it a lot, if you want to see me actually do it and put it into practice, then I can do that. I'm in the middle of writing a whole bunch of music. I had a concert in Dublin last week, which I intend to release soon enough, and for me, it's just that's a way of getting around this whole publishing problem at the moment, is just become your own publisher and become your own marketer. And for me, it's like, and instead of just putting ads on the tube, actually make entertaining stuff that people might want to see and listen to. And then you just go, hey guys, I've released something. If you're interested, maybe become a patron and patronize me. And if you're not, then fine, you don't have to listen to it. And that feels great. It feels nice that there's a potential way for me to actually release my music to people who may want to listen to it. And that's sort of what I'm thinking about at the moment too. But also, I just love the YouTube side of it. I love the talking and all that. I love just commenting on things, and I love the buzz of seeing a video take off. So yeah, I guess I've answered your question, and I've put a little honey on it as well with lots of other random stuff.
What sort of time frame are we looking at between your first upload and then the point where you were getting several thousand interactions a day? Like, just approximately 3 years, 10 years? What do you reckon?
I'd say the milestones are 1,000 subscribers. The next milestone's 10, and it really feels to me like those were milestones. I think the first 1,000 was about a year. The next 10 probably took about 8 months. I remember I languished on 7 for ages. Like, I can't get past 7,000. And then after 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 flew by. And then after the whole Sibelius thing, the thing I described, the big sort of coming out party for my channel, I think I landed on around 50. And then I kind of started building again. So from January 50 to where I am now, about 90, 91, 92. So I think really around January was when I kind of felt like I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm yet established. I'm not that well known. I mean, compared to some other channels, I'm certainly still a bit small fry. But now when I release a video, people I know about and I followed will sometimes talk about them. So that, I think, started happening around January. Properly, when I released the MuseScore video, it became obvious then after that. And since then, when I release a video, which I actually think is just one more video, when I release videos, I generally see them being discussed or thrown around by people who I would normally follow. And that kind of feels to me like, okay, I'm kind of a YouTuber now. I'm sort of known. So yeah, I would say the Sibelius one kicked it off, and then there was about 3 months of craziness, and then I emerged on the other side as someone who can release a video and expect to see a couple of, expect to see 50,000, let's say, views on a video, as long as it doesn't get pulled or demonetized or whatever, all that stuff. I guess one thing I wanted to mention was, at the moment, I'm really super part-time on YouTube. It's been like a couple of months between releases, and that's just more it's actually, again, a hangover from Sibelius. There's a couple of things going on, and I'm not trying to be secretive. I literally can't talk about them. There's a couple of things going on which are all in service of the channel, which I've been doing, which I'm hoping to release, and hoping to have a better release cadence maybe towards the end of the year. And some of the stuff I've been doing will come out there, and one or two things I'm really excited about. But yeah, that's kind of, for anyone listening, that's why I've kind of gone cold, and that's why you only see a video once every 3 months from me. I've also gone kind of more long form recently. My videos tend to be close to half an hour now, and I don't intend to keep doing that either, but that's another thing that keeps me from releasing regularly.
I'm kind of being really cheeky with these interviews. I'm basically just trying to get career advice from other people. So here we go. The struggle that I'm kind of experiencing at the moment is that I'm trying to work out if there's a specific area of creativity or music education that I need to niche down on, not specifically YouTube, but kind of just in my life. So my day job is in music education. I'm a glorified teaching assistant, basically, by day. I do weekly YouTube videos. I do these Cubase live streams. My YouTube content varies from, here's something that annoyed me at work today, to, can you please stop looking at your hands when you play guitar, to, that funny thing Bart Simpson said? Well, I remixed it. And I'm wondering if you've ever been at a point where you've felt like you're doing too many different things, or if you think that's a hindrance. This seems to be a pattern with creative people. They try to do all these different pockets of different things without any kind of unifying theme, I guess. There was a question in there somewhere.
I guess the first thing is, let's chat about niches. So by niche, you kind of mean You're doing podcasts. I know you're doing that. You've got, I think, 2 YouTube channels. You're a music educator. You write a lot of music. That's already 5 things I can think of. And I'm getting the sense that you feel quite a bit spread in all those different things. So when you say niche, do you mean like, should I focus in on the YouTube channel or one of the YouTube channels, or focus in on podcasting and drop one of the other things?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, let's just stick with the YouTube thing for the moment. So my content is, there isn't necessarily a unifying thing. When I started, it was about, these are some things about playing guitar, not necessarily here's a lick of the day, but like, I see guitarists do that, I think it's dumb, here's why you shouldn't do that. But people tend to not watch those videos, which is how come I've ended up doing a more production side of things, or Simpsons remixes, basically.
When something's not working, you have to shake it up. That's my this is just my own feeling about my own stuff. Now, like, to be honest with you, I had a lot of faith in my own format, just because the video essay format, I'm not going to turn this into talking about me, I'm just giving an example. The video essay format is long established. I don't have to focus in the camera at myself, so I didn't have to rely on my own performance the way that some YouTubers do, and that's something that takes a bit of time. Like, I'm nowhere near as camera ready as you are, or Adam Neely, or David Bruce, or any of these people are. It's more worrying for me. But I have obviously worked in a whole lot of different places, and I've done a lot of video content, professionally. And when something's not working, if you're doing a series of some kind, you need to shake it up in every single respect. So maybe I would say, maybe take the camera off your face sometimes. Maybe think of some. Do you write scripts?
Yes. Yeah.
I write scripts, so I was going to suggest do or don't write scripts. But like, maybe experiment with. Your videos are usually around the same length as mine, like 9, 10, 11 minutes or something, I think, right?
I'm trying to cut them down to sort of the 2-3 minute mark where possible, but like, well, the struggle. There's a lot to be said in these subjects, so like cutting down doesn't feel right.
I'm actually falling into the trap here of being pedantic with unnecessary. Like, these are the stats, and these aren't actually important.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be asking you about how much time you're using, because that's irrelevant. How much time you need is the amount of time something should take. There's definitely the algorithm game, which is release short little packages every day. And let's not go into that. We all know that particular piece of advice. I would shake things up and kind of go, maybe I should turn the camera on other things. Maybe I should do, like, you release, I think, every week. Maybe I should try see what I can do in a month. Or maybe just start somewhere and start editing together a video based on a single idea and try look at it from different perspectives. Take yourself out of your comfort zone, bring the camera elsewhere, maybe use clips. You already use clips of other things, but introduce clips.
If you're enjoying this interview, you might want to visit the LTGuitarist Ko-fi page. Ko-fi, spelt Ko-fi, is a platform where people like you can buy a coffee for their favourite internet creators. Precious coffee. There's also a store where you can download basically every piece of music I've ever written, including lots of stuff that isn't up on Spotify or anywhere else. There's also a monthly supporter option where if you want to send me £1 every month, you can unlock a bunch of sample packs by me, which are not available anywhere else. It's super easy to set up and you can send payment through PayPal. Honestly, times are hard, so any donations are hugely appreciated. Visit kofi.com/LTGuitarist. That's ko-fi.com/LTGuitarist to support the LT Guitarist Interviews podcast. Thank you.
When I write scripts, I usually write a script or two. I've always got like the next couple of YouTube videos planned.
Yeah.
I put them in a drawer. I go off and I do something else because I'm a bit like you. I'm quite spread around. I come back to the script later and I read through the script and I make sure that every single line, that there's not a line wasted, that there's not a bit where I'm saying something where it's kind of irrelevant, where I'm sort of trailing off, and I try to keep it just absolutely iron.
Yeah.
Like in its flow from one place to another. I don't always succeed, but that's what I try to do. And for me, like, going back over the script a couple of times is really important. That said, when I do write the script, I don't necessarily read out every word I said there. I try to write the script in a way so that I can kind of talk over in a style that feels more natural to me. But that's my own.
Yeah, so kind of jumping off points rather than, I am reading a script now. These are the words on the page.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. There is an art to reading a script and sounding like you're doing it legit. And I would say, well, let's say the music score video, there's no way I could have jumped off the cuff on most on most of those points. I had to, I'm basically reading off a page for most of that. Same with the Shostakovich one. With let's say the Hallelujah one and some of the earlier ones, I've written out what I'm going to say, but I'm not necessarily saying every word. Yeah, that's another one. I think, I don't actually know what your process is. You might do all these things. But those are the kind of things that work for me. And definitely shaking up the format.
Sure.
If something's not working.
Nice one. You've described some things that I am doing, but I'm always wondering, is this... I know there isn't a right way to necessarily do anything in creative industry, but I'm always wondering, like, is this a massive waste of time? Is there a better way to do this? So it's nice to reinforce the aspects of stuff that I am doing. So I'm the same as you. I think I've some ungodly number of scripts in the bag, something like 50 or 60 going back for the last 2 years. I put them in a Google...
I've nothing like that. But...
Yeah, like too many videos. I stick them in a Google Docs folder, and then like every now and again I'll go through and like, oh yeah, no, that one's been on my mind recently. Let's try and go through that script. And then eventually they'll come to the fore. So like...
There's another thing, and even though this falls into the same category as those kind of annoying websites to go, here's how you're a famous YouTuber, here's how to be a famous YouTuber. Oh, just use short and choppy words that people like and want to read about or want to watch, and put them in your video, and use keywords and all this. But the two in particular that I paid a lot more attention to around the time my channel started getting some views were like really paying attention to the keywords and tags.
Yeah.
Like when I started doing that really made an impact.
Yeah.
And also just paying a lot of attention to the thumbnail. Especially like for me, I try to make sure that my thumbnails stand distinct from ones I've done before, but have something in common with them.
Yeah.
Some people obviously use their face a lot. Like I know Adam Neely uses his face in a very identifiable question answer sort of format, so that you kind of know that it's new because he's put really big words over the top of it that let you know that. But the keyword one, that's like the dark art.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different services. Some you can buy, some you can go on for free, like the Google Analytics one that lets you. I don't remember the name of it, unfortunately, that lets you try out a couple of keywords and see how relevant it is, and that's really important. And also cutting out the ones that aren't doing well for you, like going back into old videos and seeing, I've actually used all kinds of stupid keywords like music. You're not going to get, never put music as your keyword. That's the description of your channel. Actually, that's another one. For ages, my channel was... my channel, I think, was titled, as in the actual description of my channel was, I think, entertainment or maybe something else. I had miscategorized my own channel for ages. When I changed that to music, that was also around the time my channel started doing well. So I think there's actually some basic settings stuff that people should pay attention to. Again, I'm sure you're doing all that, but I'm also just aiming that outwards as well, because for me, when I started getting better at that stuff, that really, really helped, and I can see big differences in old videos when I tweak a certain word. Like my Star Wars one, that's the biggest swing and a miss I've ever had. Like that got absolutely, that was dead. And I released it around the time of the release of the Return of the whatever that awful movie's called, not the Return of the Jedi, the Last Jedi, and I timed that well, and it just did nothing. And then later on, I tweaked some of the keywords in it a bit, and then suddenly, it didn't do amazingly, but suddenly, it's over like 150 or something thousand views, which is great.
It's interesting you mentioned the category side of things, because I think you have a channel category, and then every video you upload, you can change the category as well. So I think currently I'm on how to and style, because I feel like when I upload a video under the music category, I get spam comments telling me that like I can promote my SoundCloud channel for free, and I'm like, obviously it is spam, but also it's spam that is irrelevant. So am I trying to get the wrong kind of views because music implies it's a music performance or a music video rather than music education?
That's exactly what my issues were. I because I was getting nothing elsewhere, I thought my problem I think how to, and this is me imagining based on how I can, just from actually working in massive corporations, how some of these things are broken down. I'm guessing that how to is going to fall more under DIY, makeup tutorials, and I'd worry a bit because I'm pretty certain that all the other YouTubers are all under the category of music. I certainly am, and I feel like it's a catch-all because remember, YouTube doesn't really know that you're giving a tutorial necessarily. But if you've got Britney Spears in the title, it's going to start linking you to other Britney Spears, and and I guess if your category isn't music, it might think you're making a Britney Spears diorama or something. I don't know. Yeah. That's my guess. It's really dumb, but you're right. It needs to be split out into other categories.
that is actually a good answer in general. Your whole response is good to reinforce the things that I know I'm doing. But I think, yeah, I might try and shake up the format a little bit, or I might try and... I think I want to publish more music on YouTube, and not just Simpsons remixes, but actually try and be more creative and demonstrate that I am actually a working musician. I am actually creating music. So when I do a tutorial on something, you can see here's me using it in practice as well. Something other than just a track created specifically for that video. And I think this is all good stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And I think this is all good stuff to sort of reinforce if a viewer watching this is interested in doing their own YouTube, or if they're in a similar situation to me but not trying the same stuff. So thanks for that. And I've got my signature end question. Now, the thing with this question is that it's got to be specific to your experience in music or in life. So if I were to ask any other musician or any other creative person, YouTuber, whatever, their advice would be different. So, for example, 12-Tone Corey, their answer would be specific to them. Your answer specific to you.
What was 12-Tone's answer? That way I can perhaps rob it.
Well, so the question is, what is one piece of advice that you can give to a musician that's unique to your experience? Don't get bogged down in music theory, was the gist of it. If you've learnt how to do something, if you've learnt a specific writing technique, that's amazing, but that doesn't mean you have to put it into every single piece of music, which I thought was brilliant considering their content is what it is.
It's good that, I mean, yeah, that's great. Obviously shows like he has the perfect distance from his own subject to be able to recognize exactly when it's appropriate and when maybe it's you're overusing it or something. I mean, you can see it time and time again. I'm sorry to delve into this, but you can see sometimes a person's going, hey, shouldn't you move from, the I don't know, you can't remove from a diminished fifth to a first. You can't do that, because in my theory book you can't do that.
Yeah, but I just did it and it sounded epic, so whatever.
Sounds great. Actually, who would ever say that?
Yeah,
of course you can move from diminished. That's my favorite transition. Anyway, what was I going to say? One of the things that I try to always remind myself not to do is to be too ideological, I guess, when writing music, and to avoid musical ideologies. And I guess, a classic one would be, you come across some people who think that music, is no good if it can't be danced to. They have like this little idea in their head about what music should be. And it's in effect a kind of ideology, but also classical musicians have this too. It's not just people who maybe aren't trained in music. I mean, you have like the famous non-tonality versus tonality kind of thing. That if music in this day and age after Schoenberg, if you have if your music's really tonal, then it's kind of lame, or maybe you're not pushing yourself enough and all this. I think another type of one that really bothers me is this unattainable quality of newness that people are always going on about. Especially younger people seem to think that if your music isn't new, displaying this quality of new, then it's old and therefore it's bad. And I think one of the examples of that would be, again, tonality. People kind of going, oh well, it sounds like kind of tonality you heard from older pieces of music. And again, I kind of think that sort of ideology can sometimes mask the fact that there are other ways of describing things in music, other than just what kind of tonality you're using. I mean, obviously that was the entire idea of serialism in the first place, which is let's get away from tonality, let's get away from the classic Western harmony. Let's focus in on other types of things and let's use this as the framework to allow us to do that. Let's experiment with structures and all this. And I think another one which I grew up with was the sort of punk aesthetic, which is hooked into this concept of commercialism. Which would be, if a band doesn't display these kind of values, and if they don't wear these kind of clothes, and if they're on a particular type of label, then they're going to be crap. And again, it's just you're using shortcuts to making your musical decisions there. You're using biases, and they're sometimes wrong and they're sometimes right. Just be a little careful. And I guess 12-Tone picked out one of the most obvious ones, which is don't allow theory to don't look at the theory book and see the way the theory book describes that music works, and then just do that in your own music, because that's like another form of hard ideology. And it's something that because I definitely fall into all of us are ideological in our thinking, and music, in a way, the way we talk about it, the actual term music itself is problematic, because it describes all kinds of things that aren't actually the same. Like, you got music with vocals in it, and the vocals are saying something, and that's usually quite programmatic. So that's almost telling you what the music is, and that's on one side. And then you have instrumental music, which isn't saying something, which doesn't necessarily have a program, and that's on the other side. To me, those are like nearly irreconcilable types of thing, and they don't fall under the category of music for me. They're just completely different, and you can't use categories to judge one to necessarily judge the other. And I think that hurts people when they're trying to figure out whether rap is music. Kind of go, well, No, yeah, kinda. Yes, it's a type of music, and it's music is not good enough as a description for these things. It's just too vague. And I think, and anyway, like that's the term ideology is one I often use myself to figure out whether I think someone is judging honestly or openly, or whether they're falling into some sort of bias, something that they've read, or some sort of like learned attitude.
Perfect. I love it. So the last thing is, and I'll do this formally again when it's not the hottest it's ever been, but do you have a preference for where people go to find out more about you? Website, Twitter, or presumably YouTube? That's
a good question. It has to be YouTube at the moment, because
yeah,
I'm this is actually something that came up with David Bruce's video that we were all involved in.
Oh yeah.
I have a lot of music, and I'm in the middle of putting it all together and remastering it and blah blah blah, and some of it I don't want to release. Some of it I'm in the middle of recording that I've written for years, and people are like asking, like on my channel and other videos as well, where's this guy's music? He goes on about being a musician. And Adam Neely pointed it out, Ben Levin pointed it out, David Bruce pointed it out, and now I'm just kind of getting self-conscious about it. So it's something that I'm actively doing, is putting together my music so you can actually go and hear it, So yeah, that's it. I'll keep you posted, but stick to the YouTube channel and Twitter. There would be the two places that I would definitely shout out when I have something.
Wicked, nice one. Thank you so much for your time, Martin. I really appreciate it, and yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Cheers, man.